where were you when the automation failed? Right here. Welcome to the LANCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
I too was right here.
Yeah, we'll all remember that moment. Man, I have everything trying to be automated and queued up, and it's like, here's a stack of like, here's all the things that happened. It was like, cool. I'm just gonna stop doing. Anyways, we don't talk about that as much as we talk about gaming. That's kind of what we do here: nerd stuff, gaming, figurines. If you want to talk about some Marvel Legends figures, I got Doctor Doom, dude.
Did you buy some new stuff?
Yeah,
you putting money into the economy,
just a little
like
bit,
a good consumer.
Just a little bit. I mean, like a good consumer, buying some things that I'm like, they make me happy. It sparks joy. I'm not buying things just to buy them. They are things that legitimately, some of my favorite like characters or same favorite villains, or things that are important to me. It's not just like I want to collect everything. If people do that, if it makes you happy, cool too. You do you. I'm just trying to justify the fact that I spent some money. I didn't spend that much money, but I spent some money. How about you? You spent some money? Do some shopping, shopping therapy?
So here's my problem. Hold on. Sorry, somebody said we're at the standby screen, but Twitch looks good to me. Green crayon. So you may hit the refresh button. I just loaded it up and it's working for me. So
I'll check on my.
I'm gonna go ahead and snap my fingers there, just so you can cut that little part out if you'd like. Am I spending some money? So I'm having a problem right now. I just come across these random things that I want, and maybe my loyal listeners can help me out. I have a list going of things that I would like to collect. So you can't see all my stuff because I still haven't arranged the camera to where we can see everything. Well, I always have a little something right here. So this week it's the Vita. I want some more things. I want a Game Boy Pocket. I would like a Game Boy Advance SP. Randomly this weekend, I decide that I want a copy of Soul Silver, Pokemon Soul Silver on DS. Apparently, did you know this? Did you know that the reproduction market is really huge? So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace and I found repros of Soul Silver, and I'm like, well, I would like an original, but do I care that much?
I mean, also depending on how far back you go, repros may be the way to go. If you want something old school that's worth a lot of money and you're just like, I just want to be able to, but if you're wanting the original, then yeah, that's a completely different story.
It's a thing of like, do I want to play Soul Silver? Because unfortunately, Nintendo has not done the smart thing, and I didn't realize that Nintendo and I disagree on what's smart, but Soul Silver was available on the Nintendo DS. It is not even available on the 3DS eShop. You can buy silver and gold, but you cannot buy Soul Silver and Heart Gold. I want the upgraded version for my 3DS, right? I don't understand why I can't buy that.
It's weird to me because it's like, why wouldn't you have? Because I think Sony does kind of the opposite. It's hard to get, like, or not like on all of them, but Sony likes to put forward those like, oh, it's this remaster, it's this one. I'm like, can I get the OG one? It's like, that you can play it on your PlayStation 3, and at least I can do it. But yeah, Sony's been better about it recently, but I remember for a long time there were a bunch of games when the PlayStation 4 was up, and I was like, I wanna play this, and they were like, oh, you can play it on PS3. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want, like, I have one, but
no.
Yeah, Nintendo just needs to understand, if you put it on the shop, we're gonna buy it.
Yeah,
like a lot, and that comes from, I think you and I have purchased Ocarina like probably 7 times.
I bought Ocarina again recently on the 3DS.
Yep. I got a 3DS, Wii U,
$19.99.
just everywhere. Put that on Switch. I'm gonna buy it on Switch. I've got my Wii U. I could power up my Wii U and play it. But you know what? This Switch is more convenient. The frame rate's gonna be better. It's gonna be smoother.
I had my Wii U actually sitting right here for about a month. I turned it on one time, updated the software, and then I never turned it on again. I was like, who am I kidding? Like, I have all this next gen stuff and now current gen. I'm just, I don't have time to go back. So just port the games like the good little company you are. It's just like where Insomniac, I don't know if you follow Insomniac's social media, but how often are they teasing us on Resistance? Like, how much Resistance stuff can they possibly drop until they either A, port the Resistance Remastered Trilogy, which they did make one on PS3, port that over to PS4, or give us Resistance 4, either way or both. But how many times can you talk about these games and just not... what's that? It's the Colbert gift. Like, give it to me.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, at least with Xbox, they have that cross-platform goodness where I can go back and play. Like, I want to play original Fable. Okay, play that. Like, I can go deep in the catalog for that.
And they'll even up-res some of that stuff. I downloaded Banjo-Kazooie, which has been optimized for the Xbox One X.
Yep. I don't know if you saw, they also, and I didn't have it up here because I can't remember the exact buzzwords that they were using, but essentially Xbox has a thing that they're either beta testing or they have rolled it out for older games that haven't been actually optimized. For older games, they have like this like kind of dynamic optimization where they try to hit at least the frame rate and some other things. So it's not interpolation, which is what TVs do when they fake higher frame rates, when they try to make it look like live TV, or they try to make it look like real life. It's actually good. Like, from a gameplay standpoint, apparently Xbox figured out some of that magic where they're like, let's do this one thing, and every other game that plays on it will play better and higher frame rate, just everything.
That is the FPS boost, and then they also have auto HDR, and that was so if you're part, I don't know the name of their like loyalty program. I don't know what their loyalty program is for the Xbox folks, but there were some people that were using it last month, but the actual official release, let's see if it's out yet. It says March Xbox update.
Hey, I'm in March. I don't know about you.
It says March 9th, so
we may have it now.
It could already be on your system. So if you are curious, you can go check out your settings. And I even think with the auto HDR, so you can go into the games settings, I think, and you can toggle on or off auto HDR and FPS boost.
Yeah, so I'll have to check that and see if if it'll let me do that. I've been playing new games, so I haven't been able. I played a couple older games, but newer games. Played some Dark Souls, Demon Souls. I actually threw this video up on our. Apparently having technical issues again. Threw this video up on our YouTube of me cheesing one of the I guess you wouldn't call him like a boss. He's kind of like a side boss who has like an insane amount of health. And I literally, like, my durability on my sword like went to half in 5 minutes just stabbing him repeatedly. And so I fast forwarded here. I couldn't, so I finally decided to cheese him. So instead of actually taking he's like tiny little bit of damage that I do, instead I decided to like lead him out across this bridge. I nudge him across the bridge, and this is kind of like frantic and fast forward. It took me like 8 minutes to do this. So I'm kind of just nudging him with my hand. I'm not actually like striking him. And I nudge him over to a staircase, and I knock him off the stairs to kill him. Because I was like, at least I can get it done. Because I wanted to kill him, but I was like, I spent almost 2 hours like trying to kill this guy and dying over and over. So here's my death blow, and then boom, wasted, which is fun. But
so did you know to do this, or did you just kind of like decide, hey, what if I try to knock him off the stairs?
I'll admit it. I Googled it because I was like, okay, how do we cheese
no
this?
shame,
like,
by the way.
Seriously, how do I cheese it? And there's like a couple different ways to do it. That one, I mean, you're taking him across a pretty decent section of the map. Or I should say, it seems like a decent section because it's so slow. But sometimes when you want to get through a game, or you're trying to get that platinum, sometimes you just got to cheese it, and you just say, you know what, it's okay. Like, I don't have to be the best gamer. I'm going to cheese this, and I'm going to go have fun elsewhere.
Hold the phone. I don't have to be the best gamer?
You don't have to be the best gamer. We talk about that a lot on the show. If you haven't joined us before, we love gaming. We may not be the best at it, but it's fun, and you don't have to be the best. If you want to strive to be the best, awesome, good for you. But we're not quite that caliber. Speaking of calibers, what about a pro caliber Switch? This rumor's been going on forever, but with Bloomberg Report and a couple other things going on, it looks like this may be happening with a larger OLED screen. What do you think?
Nintendo still has yet to say anything, but at least this time the rumor is that the screens start production this summer, so don't expect it to come out this year, but they're saying 7 inches, which I think the current Switch is 6, or it's like 5, and
I'll double check. I want to say it's just around 6 inches.
So it's definitely bigger, and then they're saying OLED is dope. The original Vita has an OLED screen, which
6.2, by the way,
always looked great. So 6.2 to 7. So that's
not bad.
Yeah,
for a handheld, that's not bad.
And then they're saying it can go 4K docked. Honestly, I mean, while I care about that a little, because 4K is definitely important, what I want is the frame rate. I want all this stuff that's being ported over the Switch, and I don't even care what so it's going to be 720p in handheld, which is fine, by the way. For anybody who immediately says why even bother if you're not going to do a 4K screen, your eyes and the space, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be that. What you want in this handheld situation is you want frames to go with that pretty OLED. So there's a reason, I dare anybody right now that saw this and immediately was like, why can't I get 4K handheld? Go try and find a TV smaller than 21 inches that's 4K. It doesn't exist. That nobody sells them. You can only get 1080p TVs. So I can understand if you maybe wanted a 1080p handheld, but it's useless. So I want frames. I want stable frame rates. That's all I really want in this handheld system. The nice screen's gonna help, but I need less jank in my ports.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I wouldn't mind 1080, but I'll do you one better. I would love some HDR in this. If you have an OLED screen, we can have that color depth. We can have that, and because COVID, we're not going around anywhere right now. And after COVID, we're still probably going to be used to not going around that much, which means when you're hanging out at home, that screen's going to look good, because you won't get quite the greatness of HDR when you're outside. But if you're on the couch, especially if the room's a little dim, it's going to be great. OLED screens are fantastic for that, and they're actually really good when you are in direct sunlight as well. So yeah, I'm.
Do you go out in the sun?
I mean, sometimes.
You do? Okay. I'm not a big sun kind of guy. I did. So I after 4 years of living at my house, I've been trying to set up this foundation watering system. For those who don't know, Texas gets pretty dry and our foundation shrinks, and it can cause your doors and stuff to shift. Finally, I said, this is the year. I'm going to get it done. So I have spent the last several days literally rigging a hose system all the way around my house. That's the most, that's my kind of sun time. I was on my lunch break, so about 30 minutes at a time, and then I had to go back to my coffin and to make sure that I didn't burst into flame.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, left on my own devices, I don't really go out. The wife and I like to get out, for our own mental health and everything.
Sure.
I do also have the beach right over there. Actually both ways. Literally, it's either way down that street, 10 minutes and I'm at a beach. So that's obviously a bonus. But I will say, not because of my complexion, but partially because it's Florida, partially because of global warming, and partially because of this bald head. I have to like throw on sunscreen, and I have like a hat. Yep, see, exactly. I put the hat on to cover it up, so I'm out. So I got over that real quick, where I have like, it's not a ball cap, because like if you wear just a baseball cap, it does, I mean, it can cover up this, but it maybe it covers up your eyes a little bit, but your ears will burn. So I wear the like the fisherman. Yeah, I know. I look like yeah, but you know
You
what?
look like you're retired and in Florida.
I look like I'm retired in Florida, but and if I'm going to drive for a long period of time, I do it while I'm in the convertible as well. So I'll drop the top and I have the hat on. And the only reason I do that though is because if I don't, the times that I haven't, where I'm like, oh, I'm just driving down here for a little bit and drive back, and it's like an hour round trip, and my head burns. So
Yeah.
got to protect it. Don't want to get sunburned. Don't want skin cancer. So you do what you can. But yeah, I don't go out a lot. I'm busy. I'm working. But yeah,
I was just curious with that Switch Pro. I mean, I'm not going to take. Everybody knows I'm not going to take my Switch anywhere anyway. But there is more cases, as I want to sit in front of my TV most of the time, but maybe I want to go hang out with the wife while she watches whatever show, and that's where the Vitas come in handy. I could just sit there and play some games, even though I'm not going to take my Switch anywhere either. But I will say one thing that I want them to focus on is, and it's probably not going to happen, is I just wish that they could make it a little bit more ergonomic. Like if they could focus on some so they have licensed some Switch Joy-Cons that have been on sale a lot recently on Amazon. I haven't bought those. I've also seen some people mentioning some
these are the larger ones that are supposed to be
it's supposed to have like that kind of that grip style that kind of jets out a little bit for you to put your hand around. I wish that they would focus a little bit on that, because the only thing that I expect to happen out of this, if you're going to give a bigger screen, it's going to be OLED, so it's probably going to be thicker. I want to know how heavy this thing is going to be, because I already think the Switch personally is a little heavy. I can only play it for like an hour before my hands get tired.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit. I'll have to look and see for the third party ones. Is the thumb positioning better on the right stick? Left one's not bad, but the right one kind of cramps me.
No, I don't think. I think it might be just because it's a bigger Joy-Con that slides into it, and they changed the left Joy-Con to a D-pad.
Okay, that may be a little easier then, because that's the only thing that gets me is like probably about 45 minutes in. My right thumb will be bothering me, or I'll have to my hands cramp because I have to position them asymmetrically in order, like I'm not gripping it symmetrically. I'm gripping it asymmetrically, so that way my fingers don't cramp, and then my hands cramp because of that. So I may have to look into that. Switch Pro, I'm going to buy it. I think that's easy. When it comes to a PlayStation 5 Slim, I don't know about that. Thankfully, we're lucky enough we have our PlayStation 5s, but it looks like that maybe we may also be getting the PlayStation 5 Slim. Now, this is way out.
Sure.
So some people, and I think we knew this was going to happen.
3 years at least.
Yeah, this is a rumor / production, what have you, or it seems like production is going to be slated in regards to this. If they're doing a Slim, it looks like they're saying 2023. I say end of 2023, 2024, which puts it about 3 years, like you mentioned. If they do a PS5 Slim. I don't have a need for it. I don't mind how big the PS5 is. So personally, we don't need it. But this big heatsink, I think, is where we're going to actually see the reduction. I think we're going to see them able to reduce that big honking thing, because that's the majority of the size of it. So a PS5 Slim discless could be relatively small at this point, in my opinion.
I don't really like. So here's the problem: you're not going to even be able to find a PS5 regular in stores for the rest of this year. It's not like I will be shocked if anybody can come tell me like, yeah, I walked into Walmart today and just picked a PS5 off the shelf. I don't see that happening. So that means that PS5 is readily available for 2 years, and then the Slim comes out. Just what can the Slim do for me? Like, if they're taking out some of the heatsink, does that mean that the jet engine comes back? Like, I already got a PS4 on the wall. That happens. So, do they add a bigger hard drive? That's the kind of thing that entices me to get something else. But otherwise, unless they make a pro version. Sure. If it's a Slim, I don't need a Slim because I like how cool my PS5 is. I like how quiet it is. I do wish that the disk drive was quieter, but I'm starting to buy more and more digital stuff. Yep. I'm running all my PS4 games off an external hard drive that makes no noise.
Thankfully, they install so the disc only gets loud for a little bit, and then you're good. But it is annoying. Jason in the comments saying he'll be the first. I'm assuming PS5 Slim.
Yeah.
So PS5 Slim will be the first. Won't be denied.
There's a lot of people that think it's ugly, man, and the same reason that they want to put those ugly matte black plates on it. I'm gonna keep calling them ugly for forever, but they want to make the PS5 disappear.
I'm on the waiting list. I like it. I like the option. I like that they have the option of that. I think that Sony could take a cue from Nintendo in that. The Nintendo Joy-Cons and being like, do you want two reds? What do you want? And you can get it. I will say, I'm with you on that though. Like, what other than the fact that it's going to be smaller, is there any other upside to a PS5? Obviously, we have no idea. We're completely speculating. But the Switch that I got the Switch at launch, and then I traded my Switch in for the upgraded Switch. You didn't do that, did you? I can't remember if you did. No, so I have the upgraded Switch because to do that, I think GameStop was doing a thing, and it ended up being like $70 or $75. So I'm like, okay, so I traded in my Switch for one that has better battery life. And I don't think the screen was necessarily better, but the battery life, I was like, okay, I play this thing enough. I'll do it. I don't think they're going to do something like that with the Switch Pro, but they were running that deal, and yeah, obviously there's no way they'd run that right now. You can't get a Switch either. That's the other. Basically, if you want something like to play games on that's decent, it's hard to find right now. Like even PCs, like people are buying up PCs with decent graphics cards. And they're either keeping them or they're gutting them for the graphics card. I don't know which.
Well, in Xbox and PlayStation alike both have a problem right now in the fact that they have custom chipsets and custom everything for their consoles. So they're having trouble with that versus these computer companies where it's not custom. They can just make these parts for them, and so the AMD supplying these parts out to Sony and Xbox is already a problem right now, only because they're going to emphasize the one that they stand to make more money on. It's not that they're not going to fulfill their contracts with Microsoft and Sony. They're going to do it. It's just they have no reason to push forward when you see what's happening in the PC marketplace and how everything is just flying off the shelf. If you want a graphics card right now and you want one for a reasonable price, it's actually cheaper probably to buy a pre-built and then kind of move in and out the parts that you want. So like if you're looking for like that 3080 and you have a bunch of other parts, buy the pre-built, make sure your parts that you already have can go into it, like your hard drive and your RAM and whatnot, and do it that way. Everything right now is just so hard there. We talked about that briefly on the page where Biden wasn't focusing on consoles. There were some people spinning it that way, but that we're having a supply problem as a country and as a world, where these countries that we deal with that don't really care for us very much are not really focused on giving us all these parts, and so it's what do we do? So I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing any of these people come back stateside for their manufacturing. All this to say, if a PS5 Slim is going to come out, I just don't see the point unless it comes out like 3 or 4 years from now, and if it is significantly cheaper or has significantly more hard drive space. But we'll worry about that later.
Agreed. Speaking of AMD, I'll pivot right on to AMD talking about their version of deep learning, which I mean we knew that the chipsets in the PS5 and the Xbox weren't necessarily the best and greatest, because consoles are always a compromise to get as much horsepower as you can for as little money as you can to the consumer. But AMD's Fidelity FX is the deep learning system that they're rolling out. They've been talking about this, and they want to roll it out to all of their graphics cards, including those custom chipsets in the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. And immediately when I saw that, I thought the longevity of these consoles. I mean, obviously we're going to get greedy. We want the latest and greatest. But the longevity in these consoles and what we can accomplish visually in these consoles, I think is going to be a lot. There's going to be a bigger gap even than the PS4 beginning and end of generation. I think we're going to see an even bigger stretch of what these consoles can do compared to what we're seeing right now at launch. We're already seeing it with Miles Morales, right? So Miles Morales launched, and then like a month and a half later, they're like, "Hey, here's a patch that updates the performance mode to use ray tracing." So they're already working on optimization. But you take that deep learning aspect that I know neither one of us are fully comprehend how insane and dynamic that is, but essentially having the graphics card dynamically understand and learn for you and for the developers is amazing. I think it's a game changer. It's literally a game changer.
I think in the English sense of this is that the what this thing is trying to do is work on the efficiency of the game. So the deep learning is supposed to improve the efficiency in the way of which it loads. I think in particular to like the GPU, which is your graphics card, and how it loads your frames. And so that's about the extent of my knowledge. But if anybody was sitting here like, what the crap is deep learning, I just wanted to say what it is trying to do is, can we make this game run more efficiently so that you do not suffer from your GPU workload, not overstressing your graphics card, and still maintaining the high frame rates, aka in the consoles 60, that you want, which at this point I think is a necessity. That's why I really hope that Sony follows suit behind Xbox, because what Xbox has done with this FPS boost is heckin' dope. Yeah. How many people out there, and I don't care. I have it downloaded. I have no idea when I'm ever going to try this game ever. But how many people out there, for those Soulsborne fans, want Bloodborne at 60 frames? And
everybody, yeah.
We need Sony to flip that switch, man. You know how many of the game, like, I'm not saying I'm going to replay them, but for a lot of people, I've heard people that don't even want to replay Final Fantasy VII Remake, which looks gorgeous right now, but it only runs at 30 frames because they're getting used to the 60 frame rates. I hope Sony follows Xbox's track here and says, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll just flip a switch. They're not going to, because they're Sony, but
come on, Sony, you can figure this out. You're the smartest guy in the room everywhere you are. I mean, come on. I think it's something that they could do. It's a question of, will they do it? But I think that Xbox has got a lot of these quality life things that they're doing. Sony's got amazing games and amazing tech. I love my PlayStation 5, but the ease, that Game Pass, the ease of playing on Game Pass, the deep library, the different things that they're working on to, like I said, improve quality of life for even people who are like, they don't play the latest and greatest games, but even those older games they want to play, that's still the best, the best option. I mean, you could get like a Series S, and play some older games 60 frames a second. That's amazing. I'm pretty sure it should be. Yeah, it should still at 60. I mean, especially for those retro games, it's not going to be too taxing for it. That's so cool. I wish that Sony would do something like it, and especially for games like Bloodborne. I don't know why they haven't done that with Bloodborne. That's got to be the next thing on their radar, right? I mean,
yeah, and especially because there's another quality of life thing happening. It's not really quality of life at all, but what Xbox is now bringing to the table, and they're actually going to talk about it tomorrow. I wish they would have talked about it today, but they have been approved to buy good old ZeniMax for a honking, what was it? Was it $8 billion? $7 billion?
Change. I'll double check that.
So they are having a presentation tomorrow, Thursday, if you're listening to this podcast after the fact, but we're expecting a little prezo tomorrow. I don't actually have a timestamp on it, but where they're going to kind of formally talk about this and do I think an FAQ to go with it, because they've already answered a couple questions. One, Deathloop is still a Sony exclusive. Tokyo Impact. Is it Tokyo Impact? Is that the name of the Ghostwire Tokyo? Tokyo Impact.
It's 7.5.
Am I thinking Tokyo Drift with Fast and the Furious? Like, where did I get Tokyo Impact? Did I put Genshin Impact into Ghostwire Tokyo? That's what I did.
That's where you did.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
That's a game I need to play still. Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo is still a PlayStation exclusive, timed exclusive on both of them for sure. So they've already answered that question. Another question that they've already said, or not really specific, but they have said that games will play best and probably first on Xbox, Game Pass, and PC. So there will be some exclusives. We do not know which ones are, but how funny do you think it would be if they purposely just Elder Scrolls 6 still comes out on the PlayStation 5. Say it even comes out on the PlayStation 5 day and date, which it should if they want to make the most money, to be honest with you. But say that it runs just not as well, like on purpose on the PlayStation.
If it launches and it's like, and I'm sorry, I'm not hitting them again, but if it runs like Cyberpunk did at launch and it runs amazing on Xbox, and they're just like they're like we're working on optimization. Yeah, you worked on it on Xbox. That'd be hilarious. I don't think they would do it that level. No. At that level, but I wouldn't doubt, like they said, they have ownership. If it's like, hey, it runs on both, but it looks amazing over here and it looks pretty good over here, I think they can get away with that, because people, like, again, games like Skyrim and Fallout and everything, people still enjoy them, even if it's like not the most amazing graphics. But yeah, it would be hilarious.
You got to get Digital Foundry their clicks, because they'll be all over that kind of comparison. The other thing they're going to be announcing tomorrow is that in the meantime, there should be more games coming to Game Pass. I think as early as the end of this week, and they already have a bunch of them on Game Pass, but we'll see what they add to the list tomorrow. I meant to kind of list out what is already available, but it's so many games that I don't know what else that they can really add. But so theoretically, more Bethesda games, not theoretically, for sure, more Bethesda games coming to Game Pass very soon. But the question we all want answered is, do we get Starfield at launch on the PS5? Do we get, I don't know, the next Doom? Do we get the next Doom? We're probably not going to hear about for quite a while, but maybe the next Wolfenstein. What I want to know though, do we get a trailer for any game tomorrow? Do we get a trailer that actually can make us excited about this acquisition? Because that's a problem right now for Xbox. We don't know when anything's coming out. It's a problem for PlayStation 2, don't get me wrong, but at least with PlayStation, I am getting Ratchet fairly soon. I'm getting Kena in August. I'm getting Returnal relatively soon. These are at least a few games I know about. What do we know about that's Xbox first party coming out this year other than Halo? So do we see a Bethesda trailer for Starfield tomorrow?
Man, so I just looked up exclusive Xbox games, and it's just, I'm sorry, Scorn's the only one on here. You have The Ascent, Echo Generation, The Gunk, Lake, Tunic, Warhammer Dark Tide. I'm sorry, but none of that. And I'm not trying to diss these, some of these are smaller companies, but None of those are.
Psychonauts 2.
Oh, Psychonauts 2. Is that? I didn't even realize it was exclusive.
They bought Double Fine.
So niche. That's right. That's so niche, though. I mean, like, I love, like, if I had that or.
It's not exclusive.
Okay, I was gonna say like that or like Conker's Bad Fur Day, or like there's games that like I'm like, that's hilarious. I would totally do that. But that's me. That's not everybody else. So PlayStation comes, PS5 comes out, and you have 4 exclusive games. What do we got?
I think they have more. It's just like, are they big? Because like I saw like The Last Stop, which I'm interested in playing. Because it's by the people who made Virginia, which is a walking simulator. So that's the kind of thing. But I'm talking the big boys, the big boys and girls. Where are we? The fact that Deathloop is even though it's technically like Bethesda published, but how crazy is it that like the first big game that Bethesda has this year is a console exclusive to PlayStation 5. Like, isn't that so it, right after a $7.5 billion purchase, that their first thing out of the gate, the next game that they have coming out is not even on Xbox for probably 6 months to a year. So
yeah,
I really hope that in addition to an FAQ that we get something, and it, to be quite honest, it should be Starfield.
It should be Starfield. I would like that. It should be Starfield. They did say Starfield's coming before Elder Scrolls, so I'm not going to say. I'm not like getting my hopes up about anything. All I'd like is some of those deets like you're talking about. Like, I want them to come out and be like, hey, this is a partner. This is a partner, not a partnership. Sorry, this is a merger / acquisition, and don't think that we're exclusive to Xbox. We still will have these games on other platforms, because Switch is also something that would make a ton of games. Sell a ton of games, like Diablo 2 Resurrected is going to come out on Nintendo Switch. And I know I gushed about that like on my own, but that comes out on Nintendo Switch. It comes out on PC. I'm considering buying it on both, because then I can play it on PC and then I cloud save, go play it on my Switch.
Crossplay progression, baby.
That's amazing. Crossplay progression, sharing my stash. So if I'm playing my Necromancer, because I love my Necromancer, I'm sorry, and I find something for my Barbarian, I can throw it in the stash and then load up my Barbarian and grab that item. That's awesome. I hope the stash is bigger though. But these are that's why it's an interesting time to be in this generation of gaming, because yes, not as many people have access to the consoles. There aren't a lot of exclusive games, which may be a good thing, because not as many people have the consoles. I don't think that's purposeful. I don't
care about you peasants, is what I have to say about that.
I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but I think maybe it's a good thing that at least that's happening. But the optimization, because this generation buying, I still say when I bought my Xbox Series X, I justified it as I'm future-proofing, because I went from a 1X to a Series X. I'm like, I'm future-proofing. I can play the same games, make them look even better, and I get mine early, or not early, but I try to get it before the rush, and apparently that was a good idea to do that. But I didn't buy it because I was like, I'm gonna play this game immediately. That was a total, quality of life bump up and upgrade my stuff, like upgrading your PC and playing the same game. That's what I did with my Xbox. It's a weird time in this console generation, but at the same time,
honestly, it's a beautiful thing in terms of like, because I think I'm in a pretty similar boat. I bought the Series X because I don't know. I just they hyped me up. Remember we talked about that, how I had zero interest, and then they hyped me up, and I've played more Xbox mainly because of Call of Duty, but I've played more Xbox than I have PlayStation 5 in the last couple months. Heck, I've even played a little bit more Nintendo with Super Mario 3D World than I have my PlayStation 5 in the last couple months. It's still there. I have jumped back on. I did download a whole bunch of PS4 games. I started playing some Hitman last night, just to check it out. Apparently I owned Hitman, the first of the IO,
first of the reboot.
Yeah, I didn't know that I owned it. Somebody told me that it was a PS Plus game at some point. I've never played a Hitman game because I'm not much of a stealth guy. But I was like, it's free, it's on here,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a lot more fun than I thought that it would be. I'm not very good at it. I failed the training mission twice before I beat it. But all that aside, I'm playing that from a very fast HDD drive, an external drive on my PlayStation 5, and it still loads faster than it would on my PS4 Pro. I've been using my PS4 Pro, which is behind my computer here, as a media device for my office because if you guys didn't ever think about it, the media on both PlayStation and Xbox runs surprisingly well, and in some cases better. I have a Roku in here as well, and it kept messing up on Hulu, and I loaded Hulu on the PS4 Pro, zero problems. So it's become a little media box in here, but still, every time that I turn on the PlayStation, I'm like, man, it's been 20 seconds. Where's my... Whereas I could walk away right now and immediately have my PlayStation 5 and my Xbox both running immediately. It's so crazy to me that, like, I don't know if you used to do this, but I would get into the mode. I'm going to play a video game. Press the old power button, right? Go get a drink. You know, that's what I would do.
100%.
I don't have time to do that anymore. I have to have my drink ahead of time.
Yep, 100%. I also have I have to be ready because I can turn on, especially if I'm playing a game like even if I want to play some like a little bit of Spider-Man or whatever, you can turn on the game, play for like 5 or 10 minutes, and you actually got something done. Where 2 minutes of that, or maybe a minute and some change, actually no, I'm going to say a minute and a half to 2 minutes on the PS4 would have been booting the console, then loading the game, then going. Where I've had times where the wife's like, oh, I'm gonna go take a shower and then we'll watch a movie. I'm like, okay, cool. And I turn on the PlayStation. She's like, I'm just gonna be a minute. I'm like, I know. And by the time she gets back, I've like blasted through like 2 levels of whatever I'm playing, like Sackboy or whatever.
I don't need much time, baby.
I'm like, I'm good. She gets back, the movie's like queued up, and she's like, I thought you were playing. I'm like, I did. Like it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much time anymore. Where she thought, oh, you're getting into a game. Like no, like I can literally, you can boot up the console, play like 2 levels of Sackboy, get and then be done by the time the missus is ready. But like but then again, she plays differently than me. It's like she's been playing Assassin's Creed for like the past 3 hours, and it's like more power to her.
Cool. Whereas
I can't do that.
I mean, I could if I in a different lifetime. And maybe when my kid's grown up a little bit more and he's a little bit more self-sufficient, or maybe when he wants to play with me, there will be those opportunities. But, so we have our upgraded machines. We don't have any games for them. But, Patrick, that's not really a problem for us, is it? Because we have such a backlog of games. I have what constitutes a small library of games, and Patrick is the same way, and you guys out there are probably the same way as well. So what we've been doing in 2021 is we each picked 12 games that we already own, and we play 1 game per month. You can play more games if you want, no big deal. I've jumped ship from some of these games to try out some other stuff as well, but we lined out 12 games that we already own, not counting anything that we buy this year at all. It has to be stuff that we've already owned. I started the year with Concrete Genie, and then last month I jumped into Ghosts of Tsushima, which this game's gorgeous. This game looks good. I'm glad that they were as successful as they were. I remember being afraid for Sucker Punch and the fact that it was released right after The Last of Us. I just didn't think it was kind of fair to them. But for anybody who checked the sales numbers, it actually ended up being the number 7 best-selling game of 2021, right behind The Last of Us Part 2. This game looks good. It feels good. The combat feels really, really good. So those who don't know, this is made by Sucker Punch. Their previous stuff was Infamous. So this was... They made third-person games before, but this was a real big pivot for them because they really focused on superpower. So now to go into this this samurai slash ninja hybrid is what I'm gonna call. Like I'm not too far into it, into the game, but that's what it seems like. You start with like the honor of the samurai, and then is it? I don't know. I just feel like part of the game's trying to break you on the honor factor.
Yeah, so some of the people that you meet and some of the tactics that you're essentially things that you're asked to do, or people that you're with are kind of bending your rules and what you would expect. For example, like the samurai, honor of if you're to fight an enemy, you approach the enemy and like announce you're like, I am battle. I obviously don't.
I love
don't know the level of these things, and I love that aspect of it, where you walk up to a camp and you're like, you challenge the champion fight, where one guy comes out and you just kind of have that standoff for a minute before unleashing. It's really cool, honor based, and then it starts to kind of bend where other people, the people that you're working with, or the situations that you're in, you realize that's not going to cut it. One person in a it's like kind of like I know I talk about Demon Souls and Dark Souls a lot, but like one person fighting two people at the same time is tough. It should be tough unless you're the master of everything, like Neo, whatever. So when you come into like a bandit camp, right, and there's like 2 or 3 people you're fighting, it's like, okay, this is a little tough, especially if they're like more elite people.
Right.
So maybe that's not quite the best way to go about like taking down a camp of like 30 people.
And not everybody has honor. That's the vibe I'm getting from
honor. They might not. Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting from the game. So the game's absolutely gorgeous. The sound is really excellent. But here's my problem. It's the map. We've talked about this with open world games. Anybody who knows me knows I have a very big problem with open world games. There's a reason why Breath of the Wild is one of the most perfect examples of an open world game, because Breath of the Wild doesn't put anything on your map until you've already found it and discovered it, and there it is. And so I had a problem. I'm playing the first probably like 2.5 hours of this game. I'm playing through it. I don't really open the map like at all, right? I'm just riding around on my horse, me and the horse having just a good time.
The next story,
and following the wind. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see what's up. I open the map, Patrick, and there's question marks all over my map, dude. And I'm like, what am I supposed to? It drives me absolutely insane to see all these question marks, because if you put something on the map as a developer, you want me to go there, right?
Yes. And I think they want you to go there. I think they expect people to put in that much time to be able to get to that many things. There's an upside to games that like that Miles Morales 10 12 hour what have you game. There's an upside to that, being able to tell a tight story with that. I would say I haven't beaten Ghost of Tsushima, but I played mostly through either the main story, or I would go there's a couple people that are like main NPCs, right? Your main story NPCs, other than like just the random person who's like, I lost my amulet, whatever.
Sure.
I think there's 2 main quest givers, if you will, and like they have a story. So I was following their story, I was following my story, their story interweaves with my story. I was like, that's cool. But yeah,
I went and tracked this guy's like what's Apprentice, the apprentice with the bow.
The bow, yeah.
And that's a really cool side story. That's kind of where I left it whenever I stopped. And so the problem is that I opened that map and I just it's just like my problem with The Witcher, where it's like, I know this is a great game and I know that I should probably keep playing this game. It's just I just don't want you to rub my nose in the fact that I haven't gone to that question mark by leaving it there. Like there needs to be something.
Can you turn it off?
I don't know. That's probably a setting that I should look into. But every time I look at that kind of stuff, I'm like, you guys put that on there because you want me to go see it. How am I not supposed to go see it? But I don't want to. I really don't want to go see it that much. I just want you to take me where you kind of want me to go, or just let me do my thing, and I'll run across a camp here, or you'll have your one random point. Like, again, the Breath of the Wild thing, this is a story point. If you would like to go to the story point, that's the only thing that we're going to put on the map. We're going to put nothing else on the map.
Yep. I think that allows you, I guess I'll look into it, you look into it, one of us tell the other person. But if you can turn off everything but like the main story in regards to what's on your mini map, mini map, whatever, that at least would be like, okay, I can concentrate on the story right now. Yeah. And then if you get to a point where you're like, okay, maybe I do need to grind out, maybe I do need to put some points in, whatever, like maybe then you go off and do some optional stuff. I don't know about you, but I also, in playing like Miles and playing Spider-Man PS5, like when you play larger games like this, larger open world games, I take them in like chunks where I'll play like main story for a stretch, like a time. And then the next time, like the next session, I'll just be like, you know what? I'm going to knock out all the backpacks. I'm going to knock out all of, whatever it is. So I don't know if you do that or if you just kind of just go to random stuff.
I'm a map sectional kind of person. So like the way that I approached Horizon, the way that I approached like Horizon, where Horizon just for some reason just didn't overwhelm me as much, is that I saw where the next story quest was in Horizon. And then I unloaded the Fog of War around that story quest and then went and did the story quest is kind of how I do it. I have a thing where I have to remove the Fog of War. Like I need to you guys made this map that you want me to see, so I gotta uncover it, make sure that that's all there, and then if there's stuff around, I will just like kind of map it out in my head. I'm like, all right, I can do this, this, and this on the way to this. And the only thing that ever ruins that is if you start a side quest and then it's like, oh, we're going to take you back to the very beginning of the map. You're not going to be in that area anymore because some kind of fetch quest that they send you on. But that's how I do it. I'm not good at separating them. I'm more just am good at separating sections of the actual map. Okay. So
I like to unlock maps. If I have fast travel, like in Assassin's Creed, like I'm like I hit all those things, and then I get you where you're like I'm gonna complete this area and then go to the other. Yeah, that makes sense. So other than main quests where they make you go,
yeah. So that's my issue with the game. I can tell how good of a game it is, and again, there's a lot of great things that I can say about it. And honestly, the map problem isn't even a problem. It's a problem with me more so than design. I know a lot of people like that. So I have not been back to the game since I opened up the map.
You are playing the PS5 also. You're playing the PS5 version, so it's enhanced and optimized, like 60 frames, gorgeous, which this is not, by the way. This game plays mine from before that. I went back and loaded it up and like looked at it a little bit, but I didn't. I may go back and play it because it's that good of a game. I may go back and play it just to try to beat the story. Not that I want to platinum it, but like I really enjoyed the story. I love the environment. So
that was my February. You talked about last week. What was your February game?
I did
Control.
So it was Control, which I played another like 3 hours of this past weekend. I'm really liking it. I love the tone. Every now and then it's like, hey, you got this other mission, but it's not that many. Like in regards to like a bunch of side missions and stuff.
It's really not.
I love the mystery. I'm still trying to figure out some stuff. I've learned some things where I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. I love the quirky cartoon, not cartoons, like what is it, like the puppet show on TVs and stuff. Like it's cool. Like I'm really liking it, so I'll probably keep playing it. My game for March though is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, which. Love me some Zelda. I own but have not played Hyrule Warriors for Switch. I got the port, the Ultimate Edition port, whatever it came from
Wii U.
Yep. So I have that. Haven't played it, but this one ties into Breath of the Wild. So I'm like, you know what? I need to jump in. I know it's a different style, but getting some more of that world and maybe hold me over a little bit before we get anything on Breath of the Wild too. So that's my next one to play. What's your next one for this month?
My March game is Return of the Obra Dinn. So we'll probably talk about. Let's see, we're in the first or second week. So one of us will probably talk next week. I can talk Obra Dinn next week.
Yeah, let's talk Obra Dinn because I know you started it. I haven't gotten to start Zelda yet, so we'll do that the following week, and that'll catch us up for April.
So make sure that if you guys like the idea, again, stuff that you already own, the idea is that you're not buying new games to add on to it. That's inevitable, especially if you look at PSN sales right now. You're going to buy more games, but play those games that you have. That was what me and Patrick both realized, especially right now when both of these newer consoles, and you don't have to have the newer ones, but both of these newer consoles, the library for new gen is kind of lacking, and so I'm enjoying it, to be honest. As much as I want new stuff, I really do. I'm excited about Deathloop. I'm excited for new things that are exclusive to my PS5, but in the meantime, I'm gonna play stuff that I paid for already. I mapped out all 12 games for this year, so that way I can't like change my mind or anything like that. I did throw on a few extras just in case something is just so bad that I just don't want to play it. I have a feeling something might happen with like Hollow Knight where I just am really not digging it. But I bought Hollow Knight for $7. I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the idea. There's a lot of these games that I picked up for relatively cheap. Some of them I picked up like at launch, and then I didn't like. One of them on my list is Dark Pictures, Man of Medan, I think is what it's. Sure. Some scary whatever. Like I don't know if it's a mystery or whatever. I was like, this looks great. It's a indie developer, but it looked like it had some decent reviews. Picked it up, haven't played it. And it's like that with so many of these games. Resident Evil 3, like I still haven't played that. A lot of
Man of Medan, that one that's a part of an anthology.
It is the Dark Pictures or some of the pictures
making
which also
they're making a ton of those games, aren't they?
I was just say they there's another one that's on sale right now. Like the Dark Pictures is the anthology.
Yeah.
So and
Little Hope is the 2021, and then House of Ashes is the one coming this year. So I think they have like 10 games lined up for this anthology, which is pretty insane. But I have heard, some fun things about it.
Yeah, I don't have Little Hope.
Don't do it until you play Man of Medan, Patrick.
I have to play Man of Medan first. Like I said, I picked it up, and right now, again, that's like on sale. Like so, Little Hope and Man of Medan like bundle is on sale for $30 instead of $50. So there's a lot of these that I'm like this is. I hope it's good. Like I said, some I picked up on sale, some I played full price, so you're all guilty of it. And real quick, before we do wrap up the show, we talk about CD keys on here on the show a lot because it's a nice, cheap way to grab some subscriptions. PlayStation Plus right now is 52% off a year. So I picked up another year. I am good.
As you do.
I am good for quite a while. But I couldn't pass up 52% off because I also anticipate PlayStation Plus and Game Pass Ultimate being raised in price at some point this year. I feel like that's going to happen. So if I buy it now, I'm investing in my future. So just like these games that I purchased, at one point I'm going to play them, and that's what the backlog is all about. Kind of holding yourself accountable, play some of those games, go dip your toes in the water, see if you actually like that game that you picked up, that you said one day I'm going to play it, one day I'm going to try The Witcher, whatever that
day
game is.
Could be today.
It could be Saturday, whatever day it is. Do it this week. Let us know what game you're playing. Let us know what you think of these games, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.